Hello my friends, welcome back. Hope you're doing well. Today I'm in Luminar Neo and I'll be sharing some tips, tricks, techniques, things that I do with masks in order to give me better control over my photos. Now if you've been here before, you know I like to edit based on three key ideas, which is light, detail, and color. And in that order, and in fact, I recently wrote up a framework document that's available for free to my newsletter subscribers. You can get it at the link below, along with my 28-page Luminar editing guide. But it outlines my approach and how I do edits, basically. So if you want to check that out, feel free to. But in this video, I'm going to dive into some of these masking tips, and I'm going to be using this photo, which is a landscape I shot in Colorado. I almost said Chicago. That does not look like Chicago. If you want to take a look at the before and after, I've done my basic light adjustments following the framework that I talked about in that free document. And the light adjustments are develop raw, and then super contrast, and then light depth. And what I want to get into now are the detail and color components. And that's where masking comes in, because it's incredibly powerful and it gives you a lot of control. There's a lot of masking tools, and I'm going to show you, like I said, a couple of different tools that I use and a couple of things to be aware of. So following detail being step number 2, I'm going to go into structure. And if you've been here before, you know I love to smooth out water and skies. So I'm going to go into masking. And you may be tempted to go into Mask AI because it has automatic selections for water and sky. So if I click sky, you'll see it does an okay job, but around the edges and around the trees, not so good. There's a better way to do that. I'm going to show you that in a second. And water, I want to show you water as well. It does an okay job, but all these grasses that are in the water seem to be confusing the mask. So in my opinion, Mask AI, when it came out, it was great because we didn't have that capability. But since then, it's been eclipsed, I think, by Object Select. Now if I come in, if I hover over the sky, same problem. We're not going to do sky in this tool. We're going to do that next. So I would skip it there. But if you hover over water, wow, I mean, it nails the water almost exactly perfect along the shore across this entire pond. So I highlight it, I click it, and now that mask is added. And I'm going to come in and just smooth out structure, just to go negative to smooth it out. And before and after, just something I like to do is smoother water, but I also like smoother skies. So that was masking tip number 1. Tip number 2 is also in structure, but this is how I approach the sky. I want a smoother sky, and you already saw that both Mask AI and Object Select AI didn't really do it for me. This is where Luminosity Mask comes in. If you haven't been here before, you know I love Luminosity masks, and I use them all the time, and I talk about them all the time. It's because they're perfect. They're honestly just perfect, because what I want to do, and I'm not going to dive deep onto this. If you want a deep dive video about luminosity masking, let me know. But as I move this bar, which is isolating the mask to the brighter areas of the photo, you can see I cover the sky almost perfectly. And perhaps most importantly, it's going behind these trees, because guess what? The sky is bright, the trees are not. So if I'm getting away from the dark parts of the image, I'm isolating those trees. It's and getting them out of the mask, I should say. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to take this little diamond and drag it so I get a nice little fade, and I'm going to play around a little bit till I get it looking the way I want it to look, which I think is that. Now that looks fantastic, but you're probably noticing a very glaring foreground, which is also covered by a mask, because, hey, guess what? Luminosity mask covering the brighter parts of the photo is picking up the reflection of the sky. That's bright. Here's my trick or tip, and I've done this before in other videos, but not really with this tool, and it's something that I call stack and subtract. As you probably know, you can stack masks and use a luminosity mask and then a brush mask or something like that on a photo, but you can also use that in a really interesting way. So I've built the luminosity mask. It's grabbing the bright parts in the water, which I don't want. So I'm going to back out of luminosity, and I'm going to go to Object Select. And if you remember, Object Select did a perfect job of grabbing that foreground, all that water. So I hover over it, and what it's doing is it's saying, hey, identify that water, and I'm going to click on it, and it's going to select it and add it to the mask. And what I mean is, I've already got a luminosity mask in place. I've now added this Object Select water mask on top of it. But Jim, you don't want the water. You're right, I don't. And this is where the subtract part comes in. So now that I've selected it and said, hey, Luminar, create a mask just for the water, and it did. Now I click on subtract. I come over here, highlight that water, and I click to subtract it, and it removes it perfectly, which means it did all the erasing for me in the foreground. So now I've got this beautiful mask in the sky. I can come in, drop my structure to negative or whatever it is I'm doing, and I've got a perfect mask in the sky and automatically erased all that stuff in the foreground. That stack and subtract is one of my favorite tricks. I use it a lot. It's well worth learning. Okay, next up, I've done detail, which for me is really just a reduction or removal of detail. You could add detail to the trees, but I kind of like a softer scene. So what I'm going to do is jump into color. And for me, color harmony is the best tool. I'm going to just add some brilliance and warmth. And I'm going to go in and add a little bit of split color warmth, taking the warm colors, making them warmer, taking the cool colors, making them a little bit cooler. And a color balance, maybe I'll go into the highlights, add a little bit of red so I can get a little bit of that look in the sky, and maybe a tiny bit of yellow. I'm just kind of playing around here. But what's happening is, of course, I'm not masking yet. I'm applying this to the entire photo, which I don't want to do. What I really want to do is mostly apply this to kind of what the histogram is doing. If you look at the histogram, it's big in the darker parts of the photo, and it's lesser in the midtones with a little bit of spike in the highlights. So what I want to do is just create kind of a broad luminosity mask that covers a good part of the photo, but doesn't really go deep in any particular area. So for me, that's kind of what I call middle of the road luminosity mask, which is going to be kind of heavy on the midtones with a fade to both the highlights and the shadows. Okay, there's my overall luminosity mask. Like I said, fade it away from the shadows and the highlights, or I should say move it away from the highlights and the shadows, and then I want to fade it back into those areas. So I get a nice little distribution of color without going too heavy-handed in any particular area. And I guess you could say except for the midtones, and that's because this mask is fairly concentrated in the midtones, but it's got a nice fade. And in fact, I'm going to take it slightly away from the shadows a little bit more, and that's because the shadows are going to be the dark parts of the pond and the trees, and I think they look fine. Plus they're dark. Color doesn't show up as well there. So now if you look at my adjustments, it's going to be a lot more subtle across the photo. Before and after, before and after. And because I added the warmth here and the warmth there, the warmth in the midtones, which is, and some of the highlights, which is highly present in these trees, makes those pop a little bit. So using the luminosity mask on color harmony is a great tool, and I often will follow the histogram and kind of make sure I'm not overdoing it in one particular area with a nice fade into the other areas near it. Okay, another luminosity mask and another color tool. This one's going to be landscape. And for me, if you've been here before, this was actually shot at sunset, and I use golden hour on sunset photos a lot because it's a great tool. And what it does is it takes the warm tones that are already kind of golden and it accentuates them. So if you look at the before and after, it gives a little bit of warmth to the sky, but not a lot, because there's honestly, it was kind of blue. There was a storm that came in. I got rained on after I got a bunch of shots, of course. But it really pops those trees again, which I like, but I want to be careful. So, and I've got it at 50 just as kind of a placeholder. But the other tool that I don't really talk about that comes in really handy on these kind of photos is dehaze. And what I can do is as I start to drag this, and I'll go to 50 here as well, you'll see some of that color, it's cutting, the dehaze tool is cutting through kind of the haze, the clouds. It's giving a little bit more color to that sky and a little bit more to the reflection of the sky. Now, that's probably too much, so I'm going to pull both of those down a little bit. But I like that look overall. That's something I like to do, but I like to do that often with a luminosity mask. But because I'm focused mostly on the highlight areas, which are that section of sky with the clouds in it and then the reflection of it, luminosity mask, again, the perfect mask because it's about light values. And the light values that I want to interact with here are primarily in the sky. So again, luminosity mask, heavy in the areas that are brightest, right? So that's going to be the right-hand side of that chart, and fading into some of the shadow areas. And I recommend you just kind of play around a little bit until you get something that you think works well. And I think I'm actually going to fade that a little bit more. So you can see what this fade or this feather is doing. If I didn't have this feathering, by the way, you'd have this really weird abrupt color change at the edges of the mask, which would look terrible because you want your colors and really everything to blend together. And that's what feathering is about. Use feathers on linear gradients, radial gradients, brush masks. Luminosity masks have feathering as well, and that's what this is. So that gives me a nice little distribution there, and I think that's going to look fine. So I'm going to go ahead and accept that mask, and there you go, a nice subtle adjustment before and after, just a touch of color, right? Before and after in the sky. And that's why I use luminosity masks with things like dehaze and golden hour, because they help me kind of focus in on the tonal areas that I want to focus on, which in this case was the highlights. Okay, next tool is Accent AI, and I absolutely love this tool. And again, I like to use it with a luminosity mask because it's easy to start dragging it and getting these, ooh boy, kind of looks to your photos where it's doing a lot of stuff. But some of the stuff that it's doing, I don't really like, which is it's really brightening the shadows. If you look at the before and the after, before and after, I actually like both, but in this case, what I want to do is not have as much of an impact in the shadows. But if you look at the brighter parts, like the sky and that reflection, before, after, I like a lot of that. So again, luminosity masks, my friends, that's why they're so powerful and why I use them all the time, because it's a mask. It's not a brush where you put it in, or a linear or radial where you got to put it in and adjust it. It's not object mask or AI mask that's identifying things automatically. It's based on light values, and all these digital photos, they're just a collection of light. And that's why luminosity masks are so, I think, critically important, because they give you massive amount of control and a massive amount of the ability to target your edits, which I guess technically is controlled. So I'm going to drag this, separate these a little bit, and you'll notice like I'm getting a nice bit here in the sky, the entire sky, and the reflection, and some along the shoreline, but not really a bunch over here. And again, you just kind of futz around with this until you get it looking the way you want. I think that's going to look good. And now if I show you Accent AI before and after, still a nice impact, but it didn't overly brighten all my shadows. And that's because I purposefully kept the luminosity mask out of the shadows. And you can do that easily and quickly with a luminosity mask. Okay, those are the primary masking tips. I have two more things I really want to do to this photo. The first is mystical. I just like a scene like this where it's kind of stormy and kind of moody, adding a little bit of mystical to it. So if you look at the before and after, before and after, before and after, I do think that there's something you have to be careful about with mystical, and that is it tends to brighten the the highlights, right? Because it's effectively creating contrast. So if you look at the before and the after, the shadow areas get a little bit darker, the highlight areas get a little bit brighter. So before and after, you could apply this with a luminosity mask in order to control that. So in this case, what I would do is say, hey, luminosity mask, I do like the look that you're putting into the shadows, but not as much in the highlights. And so what I want to do is kind of the reverse of what I've been doing, which is this time focus heavily on the shadows with the luminosity mask and not so much on the highlights. And here we go. So I just want to pull this away. I'm telling Luminar, hey, build a mask that's heavy on the shadows and not so heavy on the brighter parts of the photo. And if I do that, that's pretty good. Now there's no feathering, and I do believe that feathering is really important. So I'm going to go ahead and drag that a little bit, and it's going to feather slightly on those edges, and it'll start pulling back a little bit into some of the sky and all that. But you can always control the area that's impacted really well. So here I'm going really deep into the shadows and fading across, I should say, a really wide area. And now this mystical is going to be a lot more gentle just in those darker areas where it adds a little bit more contrast without messing up my highlights, because I spent a while getting the light right and I don't want it impacting them. So before and after, before and after. I love that tip, and I do that. Mystical is often something that I apply across an entire image, but there are times when it makes sense to mask. Last thing I would do, if you got to the end of this photo, and this is not a masking tip, this is just a wrap-up tip. If you look at the photo and say, gosh, I really like this, but I want a little bit more color in those highlights, go into toning. Toning is perfect for that because it separates highlights from shadows. It's effectively masking it for you. And then just drag the saturation slider, pick the hue. I want to get something a little warm, and drag the slider to the right, and you start dragging more warm color into the highlights. It does it automatically. You don't have to mask it, and that's how you can get a nice little pop of color in a bright spot or dark spot if you want to, without having to do any masking. But if you look at the before and after, we came a long way on this photo. It's really all about masking tips with a few other things thrown in. Hope it gives you some ideas. Check out my editing framework that's for free on my website, along with my editing guide. I'll be back soon with more videos. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it, guys. Hope you're doing well. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you next time, and until then, adios.